Welcome in, everyone, to episode 44 of the Memes, Dreams, 32 Teams podcast. We are back with another episode, this time going over week 2 and week 3. I'm Justin.
I'm Eddie.
And the things that we thought we knew about week 1 didn't really stick to week 2.
I don't know if anything really translated over.
There,
People were super high on the Eagles, and then they lost. The
I
Jets
was,
are still bad.
I was still super high on the Saints, and then,
I was super high on the Saints. They lost.
yeah,
A
my
whole bunch
18
more
parlay did not
injuries.
go through. If you were curious, it did not go through. I missed on 3 of 8. The Titans, the Cowboys, and the Saints.
What did you miss on the Cowboys?
They had to win by 4.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess technically
That'll-
3.5, but
4.
yeah.
Yeah, that'll do that.
Yeah, and it's kind of heartbreaking.
I had a 5-way teaser, and I think I lost it. I know I lost it on the Saints, but I also teased the Lions to plus 17. They still lost that by 1.
Yeah, they lost by 18. Dude. Oh man, you poor soul. Vegas knows what they're doing. But like we do every episode, we'll jump into any of the news that happened week 2 going into week 3. I think the biggest thing are the 4 quarterbacks that got injured. Well, now, I mean, Roethlisberger's going to the list. So Roethlisberger during practice, or maybe during the game, I don't know if it
I don't know
happened.
when it happened.
He didn't. Coach Mike Tomlin said the quarterback was dealing with this injury, but he said he didn't know how it happened. So apparently it happened during the game, but he's dealing with a pectoral injury. So I think Dwayne Haskins should play.
100%. We've been saying it since the beginning of the season, if not before that.
Just
Big Ben is one hit away from being done.
Or he's one throw, as we can see here.
At this point, he's one throw away.
He probably threw out his pec. He's at that age, right? Where you just like move in one direction, your whole body's like, nah, not doing this anymore.
He's been in the league for 17 some years, so yeah, he's definitely at that age where everything hurts for no reason. But then you could say the same thing about Tom Brady, and he's still like, my body's a temple.
I mean, he's leading the league in touchdowns. And he has like 10 straight games with 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, including postseason.
Make it stop.
He doesn't age. Yeah, his age says 44, but he's 22. It's just half of it.
Legally, he has to age.
I mean, I guess. But what I actually see happening is I see Ben Roethlisberger playing anyways. He's always been someone who's played through injuries.
Yeah.
Unless the doctors are like, you literally can't walk. Like, you cannot play.
Please, Doc, I gotta.
So I think he's gonna play.
He'll play more than likely, but if he gets hit one more time or throws one time too hard, there's no way he comes back next season. Right? Right?
If he does, he's either as a backup or he's not in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They play Cincinnati week 3, so maybe they play Haskins just to keep Roethlisberger healthy for a week. We'll see.
I mean, that'd be a good test week for Haskins.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would go out there and would outplay Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow threw 3 picks. Him and Zach Wilson looked very similar because Zach Wilson threw 4 picks, so...
And 4 completions, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a very embarrassing game for Zach Wilson this week. Bad. Joe Burrow threw... His 3 picks, by the way, were thrown in 3 consecutive passes.
Oh, so yeah. So I was traveling all day Sunday, and we stopped for gas at somewhere, and somebody walked in. This was like, I want to say in the middle of Kentucky. And somebody walked in wearing a Joe Burrow jersey. So I was like, hey, how's Joe Burrow doing? And he just kind of looked at me, and he said, he's thrown 3 passes in a row, and all 3 were picks. It's just like, all right. So Cincinnati's losing.
I'm glad he didn't say anything like really mean to you, as if like you were like trying to troll him and be like, "Oh, how's Joe Burrow doing?"
No, it was an honest question because I had no idea.
Yeah,
I was in the middle of a 700-mile drive.
No big deal.
Yeah.
So Roethlisberger is the first quarterback to be injured. Carson Wentz,
How?
how do you
This is the
sprain
most
both
Carson Wentz
ankles?
thing.
How do how do you sprain
I want
both
to know
ankles?
just how did that happen on the same play? Did he sprain one not too bad and played through it, and then sprain the other? Like
The
that
Colts are in
sucks.
shambles.
Not as bad as the 49ers, but we'll get there.
I mean, I don't trust any of the backup quarterbacks for the Colts. I mean, they almost won,
They were very close.
uh,
And
but Jacob
whenever
Eason
you
went in 2 for 5 and
yeah,
threw the game-losing pick. I think it was in the red zone. I don't fully remember, but
I mean, you say you don't trust their backup quarterbacks. Jacob Eason is it. Ellinger's IR. If Wentz doesn't play, he doesn't play, and they have Jacob Eason. That's it. We're gonna get to see the punter come in if something happens.
I'm reading this last play. Jacob Eason passed short right to Zach Pascal to the Indy 25 for 5 yards. Lateral to Michael Pittman to Indy 8 for negative 17 yards. Lateral to Jacob Eason to Indy 8 for no gain. Lateral to is it Naheem
Naheem
Hines
Harris. Yeah.
to Indy 35 for 27 yards. End of play. Okay. So I don't know. The Colts are in shambles. It's the easiest way to put it. Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
We said it before the season, right? He's got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Here we are 2 weeks in.
Well, let's be honest. He got injured before the season.
Here we are. Well, yeah. But officially injured 7 quarters into the season.
Yikes.
Tough.
Tua has bruised ribs for the Dolphins, and he is day-to-day. I don't think he'll play this week.
Who do they have this week?
They play the Raiders. And honestly, the way the Raiders have been playing, even with Tua, I think it'd be a tough game. And the Raiders' D-line has been playing really well.
Raiders look very good.
But they looked. I mean, Jacoby Brissett is their backup, now starter, and he did not look good against the Bills. I mean, the whole team didn't. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it was only shutout of the week.
They scored no points.
I mean, even the Jets put up 6. Not to say that Miami's worse than the Jets. I just think Buffalo finally had everything click for him.
This is the Buffalo that we expected to see, right?
Yeah.
Week 1, I don't know what happened against the Steelers. Their defense showed up and played. The Steelers' defense on paper is really good.
Yes.
I didn't think it was that good to make Josh Allen not look like an MVP and make him look, no offense to Jets fans, but like a Zach Wilson.
That's an insult.
But then it comes in this game, he doesn't really have to do much because they got to an early lead, and then their defense just stopped them. So
they got Washington this week. Unfortunately, still without Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that Washington game.
Yeah.
Another quarterback, because this is a rotating thing. It's probably gonna happen more through the season. Is Andy Dalton with the Bears? Had a knee injury during last week, and they haven't declared him out for week 3, to my knowledge.
No. What I saw today was if Andy Dalton can play, he will start. Which I think is the wrong thing to do. But so be it.
I feel bad because Justin Fields went 6 for 13, 60 yards, and an interception. But when he came in, he didn't really have to do much. I want to see him in more of like an early game, like we need to go out and get a lead, drive the offense down.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it gets like late in the game, the whole mindset changes, the whole system changes.
I want to see him in that 4-minute offense.
Yeah.
Rather than a 17-point lead.
I want to see him in like you have the whole game ahead of you. Take some risks, take some chances. Let's go. Like,
See what you can do.
it's kind of hard to expect him a rookie to come in and basically say like, all right, close out the game for us.
Yeah. I mean, he's still my pick to be starter come week 10, if not earlier. Over Andy Dalton just because the Bears choose Justin Fields over Andy Dalton,
Mhm.
not because Andy Dalton's hurt.
Oh, yeah. I
But
mean,
there's something.
If Justin Fields comes into the Cincinnati game and plays the whole game, and he plays, or not Cincinnati, they play Cleveland. Sorry,
Cleveland
he comes into the Cleveland game, and
shows
I
out.
don't expect them to beat Cleveland.
No.
But if he comes out and he throws 250,
Yeah.
2 or 3 touchdowns and 1 pick, I'll take it. Right?
Yeah. I think if he can come out and do what we know he's capable of and perform, I guess, this could be the turning point for quarterbacks in Chicago. Should be,
Hopefully.
but
uh,
we're not
and
Nagy.
and the last quarterback to talk about in this rotating injury wheel is Tyrod Taylor with the Texans, and I feel so bad.
They were looking so good. Tyrod Taylor was looking so good.
I saw this thing. It said Tyrod Taylor was playing with the Bills, got benched for Nathan Peterman, but he was the first quarterback to take the Bills to the playoffs since '99. And now, obviously, Josh Allen has done it. He goes to the Browns. He starts to play not great, but not horribly. He's like mediocre to above average.
Serviceable.
Gets injured. That's when Baker takes over, and Baker takes off. So they're like, all right, Tyrod, we don't need you. Goes to the LA Chargers. Maybe it was San Diego at the time. I don't remember. But it was destined to start. And the team doctor punctured his lung. Couldn't play. Gets cut because Justin Herbert takes over. Comes to the Texans. Obviously, the Deshaun Watson situation is its own beast. And they've said that Deshaun Watson's not going to be playing pretty much at all, like this entire season. Starts to play really well through one game. And then in the middle of game 2, gets injured again. And he's on short-term IR. 3 weeks. 3 weeks minimum. They'll be playing with rookie, is it David Mills?
David Mills.
Davis. So he will be playing Thursday against the Browns, which...
I mean, I'm seeing a trend with Tyrod Taylor. Is Davis Mills?
He's a rookie.
Use that name. Well, is he going to come in and take over? And in 3 weeks' time, are they going to say, "All right, sorry, Mr. Taylor, Davis is our guy"? I know nothing about this guy.
I don't want to say yes. I understand the trends, right?
It's happened 3 times.
Well, he got benched for Nathan Peterman in Buffalo, so I won't count that one because he got benched for someone who threw 6 picks in a game. So
yeah,
that one doesn't count.
Yeah.
But Herbert was a first-round pick. Baker was a first-round pick. Davis was a third-round pick.
Yes.
So I think
out of Stanford, so he's smart.
We'll see, right? Like
that time will tell. Like I said, I know nothing about this guy. And he went 8 for 18, touchdown and an interception.
Which is pretty much what you would expect from a third-round rookie coming in the middle of a game against the Browns or against the Browns defense. Yeah, they played the Browns.
Yeah. So
he did exactly
we'll
what
see.
I would have expected. So
yeah, we'll see. They got Carolina this week on. Is that Thursday night? It is Thursday night.
But Carolina's
been rolling.
Carolina's looked good.
Well, they almost shut out the Saints, which I had going the complete opposite direction.
Yeah, Carolina's defense is actually looking much better than I expected, and also Sam Darnold's looking pretty solid through 2 games. Again, he beat the Jets and the Saints. I want to see him. Dude, looking at their schedule though, the I'm biased, but the Cowboys are like their hardest game.
Up
The
until
Cardinals
yes,
in week
up which
10.
hmm.
So like, if the Panthers continue to play like they're playing, I wouldn't be shocked if this team is like going into week 10 like 6-4, 7-3, or
Which was not the case.
7-6-3, 5-4. Sorry.
Which was not the case that either of us thought.
No, I did not think Sam Darnold was gonna pick it up this quick.
No. We were banking on, or at least I was banking on McCaffrey doing everything for that team.
He hasn't even put up 100 rushing yards yet.
Yeah, it's
In
been
a
the
game.
Sam Darnold show, and the defense. The defense has been. I mean, they just held Jameis Winston to 7 points. The Saints' offense to 7 points, so they're doing something right.
I mean, they didn't even give a passing touchdown. It was a rushing touchdown from Jameis Winston.
There you go.
They gave up. So passing yards, for anyone who doesn't know, he threw for 111. But if you subtract the amount of sack yards, it's the total team passing. So they threw for technically 80 yards and rushed for 48. They held the Saints. They held one of, what is it, 6 or 7 quarterbacks in history to throw for 5,000 yards to 111 passing yards, and then sacked him 4 times. And he threw 2 picks.
And the previous week he only threw Jameis Winston only threw 148, but 5 touchdowns
And no picks.
and no picks.
It's funny because this is like what we always talked about with Winston, where it's like he has these highs and then his lows. His yards
Week 1
haven't
was
really
high.
changed, but his touchdown
The game-
interception
the
ratio.
outcome. Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see. Alvin Kamara had 8 rushes for 5 yards. So whatever the Panthers defense did, they just got to do it again. They had 11 quarterback hits, by the way.
I mean, yeah, pressure the quarterback and stuff will happen.
So we'll see. I mean, the Panthers are playing really well. Shockingly.
Yeah.
But like, there's a couple games we want to touch on for week 1, like more in depth. But we'll kind of run through the other games. We'll start with Thursday, New York, Washington.
Unbelievable Thursday game.
New York
should not have been that
New
good.
York had 3 chances to win this game.
Yeah.
And they blew it every time.
All 3 times.
He missed the game-winning field goal.
They did.
Then there was an offside call.
Yeah. Did you see it though? Did you see the slow-mo of it?
I did not see the slow-mo.
He wasn't offside.
Oh, no.
He jumped the gun perfectly.
Oh, no.
Like 5 millisecond reaction time.
Do you think he should be able to challenge those calls? Do you think he should be able to challenge every penalty?
Not every penalty, no. And only penalties that are in situations like this, where it's within a score. This could make or break the game. This could literally change the outcome of the game. Yes, I think you should. But we've seen it too many times where the refs will stick to their original call out of pride or
Well, it's not
blind
it's
or
the whole. There has to be clear
definitive.
and evident, like evidence.
And I get that. I get that. That's still not enough.
It's such a
We've
vague
seen
term,
it too many
right?
times.
Like,
Seen it too many times. Like the biggest one that sticks out is the pass interference the Saints had in the playoffs a couple years ago.
when they lost on the last play, but people on Twitter were like, "Oh, they just didn't have enough time to look at it." I'm like, "Well, the game was over. They literally had a week
That
until
was
the next
it.
game. They had enough time to review it."
Yeah, but what do you do an hour after the game's over? What good is it to look at it then?
I mean, you're not wrong. They should have just reviewed it then and been like,
My bad.
"We weren't even close on that call."
Yeah. But in situations like that, yes, I think they should be able to be reviewed. But then that opens up a can of worms of last second field goals. Well, let's inspect all 11 players on both sides and see what happens.
Yeah. That's the hard part, is like being able to review things, but you don't want it to be reviewed too much, because then it's like every play can get reviewed, or do we not do every play, or there's just so many variables that go into it. so it's hard to find like an easy middle ground.
And the other side of that too is all scoring plays are automatically reviewed, right?
Yeah, so
But you can't retroactively do a penalty. So what if they review it and see, oh, the receiver did push off of him before he caught that ball. It wasn't called in real time, so
can you challenge that? Because you can challenge a pass interference, but can you challenge a non-pass interference that was a pass interference?
I don't think so. So yeah, it needs to be tweaked. Things need to be changed, but how do you do that without going overboard? I mean, it goes back to the to what we said. I feel like years ago at this point.
Oh,
There needs to
by the
be.
way, pass interference would no longer be reviewable.
Never mind.
that was in 2020 when that got scrapped. They did it for one season, and then I mean we saw it. It was like there was no point in challenging it because it always got denied.
Yeah, but there needs to be full time refs with some kind of consequences on missed calls because right now they just get off the hook for nothing.
But I mean Washington,
It's it sucks.
I don't think they're really gonna skip a beat. Not having
It doesn't seem
Fitzpatrick.
like it.
Obviously, Giants played really close. It's a division game. I want that to factor in. Um,
I I will say the Giants will not win games with Daniel Jones being their leading rusher.
I do agree.
Just gonna throw that one out there.
I do agree. Did you know he has? I think the stat is like quarterbacks with 80 rushing yards in a game. He's like since like the beginning of 2020, he's like fourth on the list.
No, that
I mean,
what?
you have to think. Was it? I think it was last season where he ended up running that 80-yard run and then ended up tripping over his own feet like 4 yards from the end
Yeah,
zone.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, so that game he made one play and reached the milestone. But yeah, it's like Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, someone else, Daniel Jones, and I'm like,
interesting. Not who I think of when I think of dual threat quarterbacks.
yeah, he's interesting.
Go
um,
Daniel Jones.
but the nice thing we talked about it before last week is now the Giants have a long week. So Saquon will get healthy. He looked better in this
Yeah,
game,
he did look better.
but I think the needed 10-day rest, I think it's 10 days from
Yeah,
that game to the next game, I think is like perfect. I think he'll get back to form going into week 3, which they
he'll get more
play.
than 13
And I mean,
carries.
they play Atlanta. So
It's a good time to get everything right.
if you have Saquon on your fantasy team, I will put a
Yeah, you
bid
might
that
want to put him in,
you should play
and
him.
you should put him in.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was a good game from both sides. There's definitely a lot of room for improvement. And then Chicago, Cincinnati, we sort of talked about it. Andy Dalton got injured. Justin Fields came in, kind of played meh. Joe Burrow threw 3 picks. 20-17 was like the expected scoreline of this game.
Yeah, but it did not feel like 20-17.
I mean, with 3 picks, they should not have won by only 3.
No.
Especially because one of them was a pick 6. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Houston went into Cleveland and lost by 10.
Tyrod Taylor
Cleveland.
got injured.
Honestly, before Tyrod Taylor got injured, Cleveland was like having to match Houston. It was Houston scoring, then Cleveland, then Houston, then Cleveland. So I honestly think if Tyrod Taylor was able to play, that there's a good chance they would have won this game.
Yes. And I didn't know this either. Baker Mayfield got injured mid-game. His left shoulder got dislocated, and they popped it back in mid-game, and he went back out.
Oh, I was like, I don't remember him not playing. Okay.
It's because he didn't miss a snap.
Yeah, I'm a child. If my shoulder became out of socket, I'd be like, just lay me in my bed for the next 7
Yeah.
months. Like, we're done. We're calling it.
I've never dislocated my shoulder, so I don't know how painful it really is. But I imagine it's a lot less painful when you're an NFL quarterback with all that adrenaline running through you, who's dealt with nothing but injuries. I don't want to
True.
say dealt with nothing but injuries, but is used to being hurt
Yeah, being bruised up.
for the
Just
past 10 years of his life.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. Like you said, they're probably used to it, but I'm
Still,
not. So if I stub
I'm
my
not.
toe, I think I'm down for the count. So like,
I need 3 days bed rest. I stubbed my toe.
so yeah, Cleveland needs to look better. They looked pretty good against the Chiefs, and then looked kind of meh here. So I think Cleveland needs to have. They play Chicago. I want Cleveland to come out and win by like 2 or 3 touchdowns. Like I
See,
need
I'm
them.
indifferent. I'm indifferent on that game because yeah, I want to see the Browns actually be what the Browns should be.
Hmm.
But I want Justin Fields to also come out
Oh,
and throw 500 yards and 6 touchdowns.
trust me. But if I was a Browns fan, I would want
Oh
my
yeah,
team to come out and like actually show the talent that they have instead of these like really close games that should not
right.
be happening. So, we'll see with that. LA, Indianapolis, a lot closer than I expected. Carson Wentz looks good until he gets
Sprained
injured.
both ankles.
Yeah, I don't know. Matthew
Then we talked
Stafford
about
being in
Jason
LA
Keith.
is genius. They're going to be successful. Well,
That's an
really successful.
understatement.
Definitely a playoff team. I don't see them missing.
Anybody who has Cooper Cup on your fantasy, you are loving it.
Yeah, I didn't get him on any of my teams this season. Really sad.
I think I got him in two.
Then we go to Buffalo at Miami. We know that Tua got injured, and
It was
Buffalo
a
won
blowout.
35-0. Pretty much it. New England. I don't want to say that Mac Jones outplayed Zach Wilson. Uh,
I
Zach
mean,
Wilson threw 4 picks. On paper,
on
yes.
on paper he did, but if he can do that same thing against not the Jets,
Let's put
then
it
I'll
this
start
way:
believing in Mac Jones.
you should be winning a game when your defense picks off the quarterback 4 times. You
I don't
should
care.
be winning.
I don't care who it is. You should win the game.
You should be winning. So I'm gonna sound like I dislike Mac Jones so much, but he just needs to
His
prove it against someone. Like, give me a good
defense
team.
set him up. Defense set him up for success. And I mean, they won 25-6. Defense had 4 picks. Mac Jones threw for 186, no touchdowns. That's not enough for me.
He also threw no picks, which is a plus, right?
He threw no picks, which is good, but that's you had 4 extra opportunities in this game to do something,
We'll see.
and you nothing came up.
We'll see what happens. San Francisco went into Philadelphia and won in a trench battle, pretty much, 17-11. It was. This is the game that I watched the most of, and it was fairly boring. Honestly, the noon games were fairly boring across the board. Not much really happened. There was a lot of injuries, but nothing really
There's
happened.
there's there's something in the water.
Something in the grass, something in the
And on the
air.
grass, yeah. We didn't
Um,
even say it. San Francisco got all of the injuries.
so San
They
Francisco
got the Ravens bug.
already had Raheem Mostert out for the season because he elected to have season-ending surgery instead of the 8-week recovery surgery, which makes no sense to me because I'm not a doctor. Trey Sermon got injured, a really nasty
Concussion.
hit, and landed on his top of his head, so he's out with a concussion. Elijah Mitchell is out for this week. And no, Hasty is out for this week, and Mitchell is also questionable. So they have 2 questionable, 2 out, and no one else.
Hasty will be out this week.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's either if Mitchell or Sermon can get cleared for Sunday, but if they don't,
We're gonna see Trey Lance at running back.
I honestly,
Or I mean, use him. You got him. They didn't use him at all that game.
please just blitz 4. We're going shotgun, empty back, the entire game. We're playing like
Lord.
this. We're playing like it's college. All right, Trey, it's your time.
Yeah, need you.
But yeah, I mean
Take off that
Philadelphia.
red shirt.
Philadelphia looked like meh. San Francisco looked like meh. But when your whole running back core gets injured, I don't expect.
What can you do?
Can't expect them to look good. Vegas at Pittsburgh. Vegas looks really good. Derek Carr.
Protected Derek Carr, and Derek Carr went off.
I know we said that Derek Carr has a lot of lows, but
This was not one of them.
if he can continue this trend, which he did one season, if he can do it again, he will be in MVP talks at the end of the season.
I mean,
100%.
right now, 800, He's leading the league in yards right now. 817. So that puts him on pace for what? 400 times 17 is math is
Also,
hard.
fun fact about the Raiders: they have the number one offense in terms of yards, but they are ranked 31st in rushing yards. I think is the number.
Okay then. Wow.
So yeah. I'm checking out the number in rushing.
Oh,
They are 30th. Sorry, I tied for 30th with the Bucks.
Derek Carr. Derek Carr underwent an MRI on his ankle on Monday. He's uncertain for week 3. Just go ahead and add that one to the
Can
growing list.
can we all just take a second to just
Bubble wrap, everybody.
everyone in the NFL,
Yeah.
please?
Should he play? Derek Carr is on pace for 6,900 yards this season.
No big deal.
So
He'll hit it. They probably might. Here's the downside. A downside, right? If Carr can't play this week, Mariota, their backup, is on IR. He just got put on IR.
that leaves them with.
I have no idea. Is there anyone on their roster?
Nathan Peterman.
Oh no! We're bringing Cam Newton.
Derek Carr's playing.
Bring
Derek
Cam
Carr's
Newton
playing.
right now. Bring Cam Newton, Nathan Peterman. You're cut. See ya. Done.
Oh Lord.
Honestly,
Say it ain't so.
Cam Newton would not vibe well with that team, only because I do not see him vibing well with Gruden. That's it.
I see
think
that.
I think if they had a different coach, I think Cam Newton is a perfect quarterback for that Raider like hard hitting type of like team. I think Cam Newton's perfect for it. But
And you had mentioned they have no run game right now, right?
yeah,
Essentially. Okay. I heard you say that, and it didn't register until I just saw Josh Jacobs as their leading rusher on the season with 34 yards.
yeah, they have 134 yards overall in the season, which is tied for 30th with the Bucks. So, but they are number one in passing yards and total yards.
But they got that going.
So, but yeah, Las Vegas looks good. Pittsburgh had a rough week. I mean, they looked good week 1 and then sort of got exposed this week. So
we'll see how they fare.
We talked about this one already, but Carolina welcomed New Orleans and sent them home in pain.
Sad.
26-7. Denver beat Jacksonville 23-13. It was a slow start from Denver, but I expected them to beat Trevor Lawrence anyways. Not too shocked. Lawrence threw 2 picks. Bridgewater went 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, Bridgewater's looking good. They're 2-0.
Better than I thought.
Bridgewater's always been a good quarterback. He's just ever since he got injured in Minnesota during the weird season where they played Bridgewater, Case Keenum, and Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
He hasn't been the same since. So I would love to see him. I mean, if he continues this trend, that would be huge for Denver and himself. Like,
yeah,
if Denver can solidify that he's their guy, amazing.
Cortland Sutton had a career day. No touchdowns, but you get 160 plus yards. I'll take that.
I mean, 9 receptions on 12 targets. I'll take that.
Yeah, he was looked at. He's got. Is he their number? I know he's their number one receiver.
He's
the number one?
And then Jared Jeudy was number 2. But Jared Judy's on short-term IR, so Tim Patrick has moved up to number 2. So yeah, we'll see what Denver continues to trend. Trevor Lawrence is still having growing pains, which is exactly what we expected. And to be honest, going into week 3, they play a tough Arizona defense, and I don't see it getting any better.
No, speaking of Arizona,
they
eked one out, thankful to a missed field goal. 34-33 over the Vikings.
This is the second week in a row that the Vikings had a chance to win, and their kicker cannot make the game-winning field goal.
Bit. I think this one was a little bit right. Week 1 was a little bit left.
Third week, it'll be just right down the middle.
No, yeah, I was gonna say third week he's gonna hit it. He overcompensated. Now he's got it dialed in.
I mean, Kirk Cousins looked good. Unfortunately, for me.
I mean, I want to say Kirk Cousins is better than you think he is, but he's the quarterback of an 0-2 team, so I can't give him his credit yet. But 244, 3 touchdowns. Sacked once.
As much as I don't like the guy,
That's a good stat line.
I I can't complain if that was my quarterback. I would complain that we lost by one, but
I mean, your offense did everything right. Your special teams lost it for you. I don't know.
one thing that I two things that I am excited for about Arizona though is Kyler Murray came out today and basically said like I am tired of all like the slow start. Yeah, we're 2-0, but we're taking too many sacks. I'm throwing too many picks. We're getting too many penalties.
He
For
came
a
out being a leader.
yeah, which
Love
we knew
that.
he's a leader. Like I'm not shocked that he's doing this. It's just for him to be in his this is his third year, right? Yeah, so going into his third year, it's nice to see him like fully owning the team and understanding that he has to step up himself if they want to be successful.
Yeah. And whenever you're talking about, he's leader of that team overall. He's definitely obviously leader of the offense, but I feel like he's leader of the team as a whole. And you're saying that over guys like JJ Watt. That's saying something
Yeah.
if you have that kind of influence on the team.
Yeah, so I honestly I think the Cardinals have a good shot. I mean, like we were high on them. They beat Tennessee week 1, which shocked us, but we knew they'd win week 2, and then they go like we said they play Jacksonville next week. I would be shocked if they're not 3-0 at the end of this week.
They could. Okay, I was going to say they've got. I was going to see how far they can go undefeated, and then they have a really rough stretch for their next three:
Yeah. They have
Rams,
a little tough
49ers,
stretch.
Browns.
The last thing with the Cardinals though is Rondale Moore, a rookie wide receiver, is playing exceptional so far. 11
Yes,
receptions, 182, and a touchdown. And on 11 of those catches, he gets a first down on 7 of them. So
beautiful.
he's playing really well. I would look out for him moving forward. Tampa Bay at Atlanta, it was close at one point, and then
Not.
Tampa Bay did Tampa Bay things, and Atlanta did Atlanta things.
Yeah,
It was in tandem. Dallas went into LA and
eked it out.
whew,
Heart attack.
it was a like just a fight for that entire game. Like
That
I'm,
is.
I'm not shocked, right? It's the
I'm sad
Chargers.
that I missed. I'm sad that I missed football for the most part this weekend. I'm sad I missed this game. This was one of the games that I really, really wanted to watch.
Well, you missed a good one.
I see.
It was a good game. Obviously, I'm a Dallas fan, as I've said multiple times, but
Two really good games back to back from the Cowboys
yeah.
to start out the
I
season.
hope we just go in and play the Eagles next week and absolutely embarrass them for a multitude of reasons.
That's where my money will be.
But LA still looks good. I mean, they lost by 3. You can't be too hard on them. Unfortunately, they bounced back from that loss by going into Kansas City. So we'll see how that game goes. But Tennessee at Seattle. This game.
This is the game that we're going to talk about a little bit.
Derrick Henry.
What a man. I thought he was going to hit 200. I really thought he was going to get 200.
I mean, if they changed the games to 5 quarters, I'm sure he would have.
They had a fifth quarter. They had 8 minutes
Yeah.
of overtime.
Man.
Seattle.
In true Tennessee fashion. No passing touchdowns.
All on the ground.
All on the ground. He had 35 carries.
For 180, 182, 3 touchdowns.
Who? I'll ask you this: is there another running back in the league that you think could run the ball 35 times in a game, and have? He averaged 5.2 a carry. I'll lower it. I'll say 4 for 35 carries. It's 140 yards.
More than one time a season.
Yeah, just if you had to put money on someone, I'm not gonna say like don't worry about who they're playing, right?
Yeah.
Someone other than Derrick Henry this next week who's going to run 35 times and 140 yards. Who is someone that you think could do it? That's not Derrick Henry.
Only other one I could say would maybe be Aaron Jones, maybe Zeke, but Zeke's doing or the Cowboys are doing split carries.
I don't think there is anyone.
I don't think there is anyone.
He's built like a tank.
Yeah, that was something else from him. It was a good game. Both sides was a good game. It sucks because the Seahawks had that game won, I think, twice.
It was halftime. It was 24-9.
Yeah,
You're gonna tell me a Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson team is gonna give up a 15-point lead in the second half? Come on.
they did.
I mean, yeah, obviously they did, but
Yeah.
come
Look at
on.
their second half drives: 8 plays, punt, 3 play touchdown, 3 and out, end of the half. They couldn't get it done at the end of the fourth, and then you go into overtime, 3 and out.
This is the Tennessee team that we expected to see in week 1.
Wait, I just realized what happened here on the Seattle's one touchdown in the second half. They did not get any extra point. They missed the extra point.
Which wouldn't technically have sealed the deal because then Tennessee would have just gone for 2 on their last touchdown.
Right. But they didn't have to.
Yeah.
So they lost this game 3 times then, in my opinion. End of the first half, missing that extra point, 3 and out in overtime.
I'll ask you this about this game.
Dang.
Is this, to you, is this more of a positive for Tennessee going forward or more of a negative for Seattle moving forward? Like, are you more worried about Seattle or more excited about Tennessee going into next week?
I am more excited about Tennessee because this is just a morale booster for them. They came back, like you said, 15 points in the second half, won it in overtime, and they capitalized on mistakes. Not that there were really any mistakes that Seattle gave them. The second half, they locked it in, got the job done. As far as Seattle side of it, you got to figure out how to not go 3 and out 4 times in the second half. 3 times in the second half. Sorry, they scored on that one. I don't know. I think this is leans more towards negative for Seattle because they had this game won. This was their game to lose going into halftime, and they lost it.
I'm gonna go the opposite. I think it's more exciting and like positive for Tennessee because it's a bounce back game. They can move. They can take what they did here against a team like Seattle and take it forward. Because if I'm Seattle,
Not an easy team to beat.
no, not an easy team to beat. But if I'm Seattle, the reason why I'm not like super nervous about them is because, well, it does suck to lose this game and the way they lost it. Going up 24-9 at halftime against a team like Tennessee,
It's impressive.
you just got to figure out how to duplicate that into two halves.
You just got to finish. If they don't go 3 and out one time, if they run out the clock a little bit more with an extra set of downs, that could have been the difference.
And like with a team like this, I mean, Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Gerald Everett, like I'm not worried.
They're stacked. No,
I'm not
not
worried.
at all.
That's why to me it's not that much of a negative. Yeah, losing is not good, right? Losing the way they did, not even like not better.
No.
But I'm not worried about Seattle. If
No.
I'm another team, I'm worried about playing Tennessee though.
Yes.
Because
Derrick
Henry,
I had to pick.
dusted
I'm
it
not
off.
playing either of these
I mean,
guys.
well,
I'm not playing either of these teams.
Well, yeah, like,
But I don't want to go up against the freight train of Derrick Henry. No.
I mean, Derrick Henry figured it out again. 5 yards a carry, 182. I don't want to play him next.
No, which he goes into. I think it's Indianapolis.
He'll be in Tennessee, but yeah, they
He'll
welcome
be in
in
Tennessee.
Indy.
Okay.
So
Drove past Nissan Stadium twice this weekend. Got a little jealous.
is it nice?
Oh, it's a beautiful stadium. I went and saw Mississippi State play against Louisville in their bowl game
Hmm.
a couple years ago, and it is a very, very, very nice stadium.
Man,
It's right there on the river. right down the road is the rest of Nashville. They've got all of I forgot what the name of the road is,
At
but the
least
whole bar scene,
at
night
least
scene right
Indy
there.
had a nice view when the Rams beat them this past weekend. um,
One positive.
but yeah, I think Tennessee's trending upward. I think Seattle trending. I'm not gonna say they're trending down or trending up. I think they're just kind
I
of
wouldn't be
there.
surprised if both Tennessee and Seattle rise in the power rankings after this game. I haven't looked at the power rankings going into week 3. I don't know if they're out yet even. But I would not be surprised if they both rise up after this game.
Seattle, I think they'll find it. They'll find a successful bounce back game. They go into Minnesota. I think they'll be successful, and they'll show us again
Yeah,
why Russell Wilson's so successful. So not
I
too
don't want to
worried.
be either of these teams. I definitely don't want to be the Colts, but I don't want to be either the
No,
Colts or the Vikings next week.
because you have it's like you're playing Tennessee, and you're like, great, now they have momentum, right? It's only one game, I get it, but
It doesn't matter.
the way they won is different than them winning like 33-25 or something, and you're like, wow, they just kind of won a football game. But winning in
This was a
overtime with a
different kind of
comeback,
win.
I wouldn't want to play them next week.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to play Seattle because they're like, man, we just threw that game. We're going to go and show people that, we're not supposed to be messed with next week. So, like, yeah, I don't want to be out of those teams.
It. Let me ask you this: don't look at the score.
Okay.
Just look at the stats from Tennessee and the stats from Seattle, and who would you say won this game? Because I couldn't tell you. Actually, well,
I would say Tennessee won by a close margin just because I would have assumed that they had possession for
the whole game.
35 to 45 minutes.
Yeah. I said that, and then I pulled up the stats, and
I mean,
you look at Derrick Henry's
40
stat line.
rushes. 40
Yeah,
rushes
you
for
look at
Tennessee. You assume that they had the ball forever.
yeah, which they actually ended up having 42 minutes.
Look at that. We talked about it before the
Yeah,
season. Like, Tennessee ends up having the ball for way too long.
yeah. It's because I mean, you're telling me I have a running back that every 2 carries he gets a first down. I'm gonna use the hell out of that,
You should be the
and they
offensive
do.
coordinator for Tennessee because you could do the same thing that they already do. Give the ball to Derek.
Exactly.
Give it to Derek. Well, it's 3rd and 17. Give it to Derek.
Did you hear me? Did I stutter?
Coach, we're on 4th and goal, but we're on the opposite 10. Give it to Derek.
Louisiana Tech needed him.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a good game. Great game to watch. But the Sunday night
The
game,
best. I was gonna say, arguably, this was the best game of the week, and then Sunday night happened.
yeah, definitely. Like after at noon, I would have said like L.A. Indy was the best game, sort of, and then
Hmm.
Dallas L.A. ended. And you're like, now that's the best game, and then you like the channel switches because they're like, we're gonna show you guys the finale of Tennessee at Seattle. And I'm like, oh no, this is the best game.
And then you see that,
And then I was
and
like,
then
wow, that was the
Sunday
best
night
game. And then
happens.
Sunday night happened. I was like, now that's the best game.
I think the most surprising thing about this, other than the Chiefs lost, did not. I expect this game to be close. I expect the Chiefs to come out with it. Um, Lamar Jackson didn't get a taunting penalty for doing a front flip.
The taunting penalties, man. I don't want to talk about them because we could sit here
No,
and talk for a whole episode about them, and I just let us celebrate. I understand you don't want to like the reason
it's a
people are
game.
saying is you don't want people to fight, so you want people like dropping the ball in front of another player. Like those I get, but like a celebration in the end zone, like just get
It's a
over it.
game. I about said Tyreek Henry, the Tyreek Hill throwing up the peace sign. That is where I would draw the line. Like that is borderline too much because you are in the dude's face.
It's so funny though.
It's amazing, especially whenever he gets it put back on him. I don't remember who did it
Oh, I
after
know you're talking about. I can't remember who
after they
it
beat the
was.
Chiefs. He came up after the game, squad in front of him, and just that was
Legend.
beautiful. That was perfect. But that's the part of football that makes football so much fun,
It's all sports,
especially
right?
as a viewer. Yeah, it's all sports. Trash talk,
I don't
I
like
guess
when it's like
taunting. Baseball, it's the bat flips.
I don't like it. That was you. That great touchdown, sir. We will see you on the field again. I hope you have a great evening. Come
I don't
on.
remember if it was OBJ or
He
Jarvis
scored. He
Landry.
put the ball down and just
Just
turned
walked
around
away.
and walked like yeah, best celebration.
Yeah.
My biggest worry, we talked about it with Baltimore last week. I'm worried about Lamar Jackson.
Yep. And the same thing happened again this week.
Tyson Williams, though, is looking better.
Yes.
He had 13 rushes for 77, which is an average of 5.9, which from a young guy
Again,
like him, I'll take that any day of the week.
And even take out his longest run, which was only 20 yards, if you want to call that a
So
fluke,
12
whatever.
for 57, which is just under 5, so like 4.8 a carry.
Yeah.
So I'll take that too.
Yeah, I'm not upset with that.
So I think they just need to give him more carries. They have Latavius Murray. If things get hairy, like they just need to trust the guys they have.
Yes, and take off, like we said before, take off some of that burden on Lamar Jackson that he doesn't have to do at all. I want him to have 300 plus total yards a game, but I want 90% of that to be passing.
Yeah, I agree. The thing that I'm most worried though about on the other side of the ball in the Chiefs is their defense just hasn't looked good through 2 weeks.
Their defense hasn't been the defense of last year or the year before.
I don't know, man. It feels
outside of Honey Badger. Honey Badger looks like Super Bowl winning Kansas City defensive back Tyree Matthew.
Well, the thing is, like,
outside of that,
their team's not their defense isn't bad.
No,
I don't know what's going on. They had one QB hit. I mean, yeah, you're playing Lamar Jackson. He's one of the most elusive guys in the NFL. I get it.
Still, I mean,
you can't
he's also running it 16 times. You got to expect to wear him down at some point, and they just aren't getting there.
I don't know, man. It's a worry for me with this Chiefs team. Like now, one of the throws, or Mahomes' interception. I don't know if you saw it. He was getting sacked, and his knee was like 3 centimeters from the ground, and he just threw the ball to Travis Kelce. Well, he was trying to throw it to Kelce, I should say. But when your body is almost like falling to the ground and you try to throw something, you're not going to get that good of a throw. So it just kind of like fell.
I would agree with you if we weren't talking about Patrick Mahomes.
No, I get that. But my point,
generally, you don't want that to happen.
My point with this is that the problem with a quarterback like Mahomes, who is so talented, is, in a sense, he is too talented.
Yes.
So he will try to do things that, yes, they have worked. He has thrown a football when he was parallel to the ground, which makes no sense.
But it worked.
But it almost did. He had his guy in the face.
This time it almost worked.
He needs to learn restraint.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Because he is so talented and so smart that if he can just pull back 5%, 10% max, this guy, it's going to sound really dumb when I say this, but he can get even better.
Yes.
Which sounds weird because he's already so good. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and for me to say he can get better sounds really, really dumb, but he has to show restraint.
It's the truth, though.
Like, there will come a point where he is going to try and force too many things because he's that talented, and he's going to end up throwing no touchdowns and like 4 picks in a game, and they're going to lose like 35-10. And then all ESPN is going to be, oh, Mahomes, are we all worried? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I'm not worried, but it's the same thing we talk about the Ravens. Lamar Jackson needs help.
Lamar Jackson needs help. That's, I hate to say that's the biggest takeaway, but that's the biggest takeaway. And it's going to be the story for, at least for, it's going to be the story for us until he does get some help, or until he's not their leading rusher for now the second week in a row. Next week it's looking like it'll be the third week in a row. Week 4 will be 4 weeks until that's not the trend.
Yeah.
I'm all for Lamar Jackson being their number one offensive producer. Generally, quarterbacks are. But he doesn't need to have a third of his yards being on the ground.
He shouldn't. I'll say that.
Shouldn't.
Because, I mean, if he ends up, busting out like an 80-yard rush, like it's hard to tell,
Yes. Yeah.
But he shouldn't have, in my opinion, 16 of the team's 41.
Right, exactly.
Which is 1 of every 2.5. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know. What are your thoughts on the confidence though
For
for Harbaugh?
it's through the roof.
Because he looked at his quarterback and he said,
I
"Lamar,
Do
you
you
want to
want
go
this?
for
Do you
it?"
want to go for it? Like that if that doesn't scream I trust my players, nothing will. Like
Also,
that you want that. That is one of the weirdest like happy moments I
yeah.
guess I've ever seen watching football. Cause like I you can't be a head coach and be like, yeah, this is my quarterback. I don't like him that much. Like
Me with Kirk
that this is
Cousins.
you gotta lay off, man.
No, go
Like
ahead.
this is the most this is the that's probably the greatest thing I'm gonna see for the first half of the season.
See,
For me.
I know these are grown men, right? But to have, in a sense, your boss say like, "I believe in you."
Fully. You've taken the reins. And this isn't like a Peyton Manning, I'm gonna call the plays because I feel like I know what I'm doing better than my offensive coordinator. He did. He truly did most of the time.
Yeah, same with Tom
This
Brady.
isn't like that. This is the head coach of the team coming to you and saying, it's your decision. Do you want to do this? And I believe that was one of the 2 point conversions is whenever he was asking that.
No, I think it was the fourth down to end the game.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
4th and 1 is what I think it was,
Okay.
and the Chiefs were out of timeouts, so the clock was stopped. They were gonna have to punt or they were gonna go for it, and that's when he yelled at him. And I mean, like, I imagine the confidence of being like, I'm sure Lamar was like, man, if only we could go for it here. Like it's 4th and 1, like, and then Harbaugh's like, do you want to go for it? He's like, oh, oh yeah,
Yeah, I do.
we're going for it. Like, you could be confident in yourself, and then when like your coach, your dad, your boss, like whoever, right, is like, hey, do you want to take
Is
control?
this what you want to do?
You're
Yeah.
like, oh, you have no idea where my confidence is at now.
Yeah, pretty
So,
much.
so I'm
That
sure
like
Lamar Jackson was like,
giant ego.
oh, 1 yard. That's all you guys are gonna give me? All right. And just in the end of the game. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I see the Ravens. They play Detroit. Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson's gonna have like
He's gonna do
500
it
total
again.
yards. Yeah, I just don't want him to get injured. That's all. I just don't want him to get injured. Okay, just like the Ravens have gone through enough. They've gone through enough this season.
Yeah.
Are you worried about Kansas City?
No, not at all.
Obviously, they're making the
Not at
playoffs.
all.
They're winning the division. I'm not worried about that. But I'm thinking
Once they
like,
make it to that point, eh. I mean, I figure in that we're still 16 weeks away from wild card weekend. I would hope in 16 weeks we're either going to see their defense just completely fall off and they miss the playoffs, which I don't see happening, or they figure it out.
they won't miss the playoffs because Mahomes will end up throwing 6,000 touchdowns to save them.
We've seen that those teams in the playoffs where they are 90% offense. It doesn't work out.
I mean, yeah, they'll make
It
the
works
playoffs, but
that's their season. They
yeah,
lose in the division or they lose in wild card or in the Falcons case 2016, defense wasn't there and we lose in the Super Bowl.
it's definitely a top-heavy team.
Yeah, exactly. And this I guess in the recent history, well at least in the Mahomes era, they've always leaned more towards their offense, but it's been more like 60-40. It's not looking like that right now.
It's looking more like 80-20.
Yeah.
Yeah, they picked off Lamar Jackson twice, but mm, yeah.
Yeah. It's frustrating. It's got to be frustrating for them. And their bounce back game will be against the Chargers, which will be another good test.
Yeah. Yeah, the last game or week 2, which very eventful weekend. Ended with Detroit going into Green Bay, and at halftime, Detroit was up 17-14, and I was honestly shocked. I was thinking maybe Aaron Rodgers isn't really who we thought he was.
and then Aaron Rodgers became Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and then I was like, nope, the Lions are who we thought they were.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't score a single point in the second half.
They were looking so good too,
As
and then
much
they
as
weren't.
as much as we harp on the Lions, honestly, I think this is a good sign for Detroit moving forward. To put
They
up,
have something.
it's similar to a sense like Seattle. They just got to figure out how to make what works last for 4 quarters
Basically, yeah.
instead of saying, "All right, we had a good half. Oh, we have to play more."
Yeah, basically. Oh, we got to do this again.
I don't want to. You guys can have it.
And I don't know if that's an issue of the Packers just turned it on that won that game, or if it's the Lions. I don't want to say the Lions aren't conditioned to go 4 quarters, but that's what it felt like.
I think it was more like the Packers remembered how to be a good football team,
How to play football.
and
Yeah.
they figured it out. So
It took them six quarters, but they got there.
but Aaron Rodgers and the Packers team needs to get it going like now. If they want to make a deep run, they need to start. I know it's crazy to think like now is the time. We're in week 2 or week 3, but
Well, here's the thing with last thing I want to say on this. Here's the thing with Aaron Rodgers, though. How many times have we seen an Aaron Rodgers led Packers team win 9 of their last 10 games
probably
after
like 10
starting
years.
not great?
And I just don't want to think about it. Okay, like I just don't.
Yeah,
I mean, and we saw it similar with Tom Brady last season. I mean, the Bucks looked horrible,
hmm
and then they decided to be Tom Brady's team
yeah, basically.
and just figure it out. So I
I,
just
I'll
I just think the
I'm
Packers
holding
need
off
to,
on my panic for the Packers.
I just think the Packers need to trend in the right direction. If not, they'll end the season like 10-7.
Yeah.
11-6, which to a lot of teams would be great. But for
That's
Aaron
a down
Rodgers
year
led
for
team,
Green Bay.
yeah, I agree. Well,
That's week 1.
that's week 2.
That's week 2. Sorry.
We're through 2 weeks of football. I know, sad.
That's the first half
It's
of the
heartbreaking.
episode.
Week 3, there's honestly just
There's not a right now it doesn't seem like there's a lot of really
right
good
now
games.
like Carolina at Houston. I think Carolina wins it because of how they've been playing, in Houston's without Tyrod Taylor.
But I hope the trend of Thursday night games being amazing continues.
I agree. I mean, both
Doesn't look like it,
games,
but I hope.
both Thursday night games have been decided with a last second field goal.
hmm
Or I guess technically not last second, but
Last meaningful play of
Yeah.
the game was a field goal.
so I think Carolina wins it, but we'll see what really happens.
Washington and Buffalo, that could be an interesting game.
If
Depending
Buffalo
on which
plays
Bills team wants to show up.
like they did last week,
Yeah.
Mr. Heineken's gonna have a horrible time, honestly.
Yeah.
I want to believe in Washington, but
I don't know if I believe in Heineke right now.
I believe in him enough, but more than enough is where he needs to
You
get
need
to.
more than it. Yeah. He just needs to perform well enough, and I use the term serviceable a lot. He needs to be a little bit better than serviceable.
Mhm.
So when Fitzpatrick comes back, they can finish out the season strong.
Yep. I agree. Unless he figures it out and starts playing really well, then Fitzpatrick just gets benched, and we just sit here look like fools. I don't care.
By all means, do it.
We'll see. Chicago at Cleveland. It's hard to talk about this game because Andy Dalton hasn't been declared out yet. So we want to say that Justin Fields is going to play, but if Andy Dalton comes in,
I don't like it.
I don't like this game either for either quarterback.
No.
Because this would be Justin Fields' first full game. And against a Browns team who's probably ready to prove themselves finally, it does not seem like a favorable matchup.
Doesn't bode well. Yeah.
Same.
Same could be said for the Dolphins-Raiders game. Tua, we don't know if he's going to play. And if he does play, Raiders are not a good team to test yourself against right now.
Yeah. So we'll see I think Cleveland wins it regardless of who plays. but I think they have a better chance if Fields plays.
We're talking about the difference between a 17-point win and a 3-point win, in my opinion.
I was gonna say 17-7. I don't think 3 is. I think that's too generous.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, I think Cleveland wins. So not. I think it'll be an exciting game because I think Chicago's defense is good, but
Yeah.
I just feel bad for Chicago and their quarterback situation. Baltimore goes into Detroit.
30-0.
I mean, I think Baltimore wins. I don't. It's hard. It's just some of these games are just like done. Like it next,
Yeah.
right? So I think Baltimore makes Detroit look. I think Baltimore plays much better than Green Bay did against Detroit.
Yes. Yes, I think Baltimore will do 4 quarters of football.
Yes, you are correct. They will do. That's a good way to put it, I guess.
Same with Cardinals Jaguars. I think it'll be a very similar outcome. Cardinals are just going to come run through the Jaguars.
Yeah. The next game is Indy goes to Tennessee. I don't think Carson Wentz is going to play, honestly. 2 sprained ankles. I don't think you just get over that.
You just come back.
So I think Tennessee is going to make whoever ends up playing quarterback for the Colts, whoever they decide they want to play on this given week of football. I think Tennessee's going to have 45 minutes of possession.
That'll bring down their average.
Yeah, from 46 to 45. A giant game is LA into Kansas City. It's a tough bounce back game for LA.
Not the easiest bounce back game for the Chiefs either.
No, but there's definitely harder games and there's definitely easier games. It's definitely, I think for the Chiefs, it's definitely a good test for a bounce back that they should win. But I personally would get worried if the Chargers win this game.
Yeah, I think that would be a good time to start getting the panic button out.
I'm not going to say I'm like, Chiefs aren't making the playoffs. I'm just going to start saying, are they still a Super Bowl team? That's my panic for the Chiefs.
Not quite there because they're still, after this week, this is only week 3, there's still 14 games after this. But if the Chiefs are trending, starting out 1-2, and their defense isn't looking great, I think they should. I think they should. Yeah, I think they should be able to handle Herbert.
I think so too.
Should.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. The Cowboys didn't have 2 of their starting defensive ends or a starting defensive tackle, and our rookie linebacker Micah Parsons was playing defensive end for us all game.
And he looked great doing so.
And we had 9 quarterback hits and 2 sacks. So like,
yeah,
what the Cowboys did, to point out for the Chargers, it's a bonus for the Chargers, but also kind of a weak point. The Chargers tackle Rashawn Slater that they got, who I think is the best rookie tackle. He's a left tackle. So they had Micah Parsons lining up on that side at the beginning of the game, and he was never getting through. Second half, they swapped it, and all of a sudden, Micah Parsons was just sprinting by the right tackle, and I'm like, okay, so their right tackle is really not good. The left tackle, great. Right tackle, meh. So
yeah, basically,
the Chiefs need to attack that right tackle side, and they will find success. If they attack the left side, I think Justin Herbert will have too much time in the pocket.
Yeah.
But I guess this game going either way. I do think the Chiefs win it, though. I think it's close. I would say there's no more than 10 points separating these teams. So
no, it's going to be a good.
New Orleans goes into New England. I don't know how I feel about this game.
This is the I think this week at least this will be the closest thing to a coin flip that we got.
Like I want to believe in New Orleans, but they got smacked by Carolina, and I'm like, is that Carolina playing really good, or was that New Orleans having a bad week?
Yeah.
Are the Patriots a good team, or have they just been playing like weak teams? I'm like, I have no idea. I think this game, hopefully, will give us a little bit of insight onto both these teams.
Yes.
Fingers crossed. I'm gonna say I believe in them. I'm gonna say the Saints in a close game.
I hate to say it comes down to which Jameis Winston shows up, but I also think it'll be the Saints because I don't believe in Mac Jones yet. He has not done anything to say Mac Jones is worthy to be a
Hmm.
starting quarterback.
Yeah. It's nice they're at home, so he could show out. That's
Yeah,
going to be a benefit. We'll see.
yeah.
Atlanta goes into New York, face the Giants. Um,
Kind of also a coin
I
flip.
was gonna say, give me your thoughts because you are the Falcons fan, so it's
um,
hard to be biased when your team's not very good.
yeah. I mean, it comes down to I have no problem with our offense. Our offense is okay at best. Our offensive line is terrible. I think Matt Ryan's going to have another week where he's running around and hurdling defenders and literally fighting for his life. And our defense has 11 players and 11 holes. So
That's nice.
I yeah, it's great out here in the A. I think Giants win it. I hate to say it, but I Giants probably take it.
Hmm.
Nah, that's pretty much all I got to say. I
I
mean,
think I do agree. I think the Giants take it, but I think it's another close game. I think there's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot of close games or a lot of blowouts this week.
this is one of them.
It's definitely gonna be a week where either the two teams are just that evenly matched, or the two teams are that evenly matched that for some reason one of them just understands how to beat the other one that well.
I've noticed a trend with the Falcons over the last as long as I've been watching them, especially for whatever reason in the Matt Ryan era. They tend to play up or play down to the team that they're playing against, and there is no up or down from this. I think the Giants have just as many issues as the Falcons.
I do think the Giants are trending in the right direction, while
Yes,
the Falcons are either trending down or just stagnant.
I don't know if there is more down.
That's why I said stagnant.
Yeah,
It's hard to go down from where you're at, to be
yeah.
honest.
So
So
it is what it is.
yeah, I think the Giants take
Unfortunately,
it. Um,
we're fighting for draft picks.
Cincinnati goes into Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh has a bounce back game. Um, it's gonna be
I
gonna be
think
close. Look at that.
the
Said it
only reason
again.
the only reason I give this to the Steelers is because the Steelers are at home. If it was at the Bengals, I think the Cincinnati wins.
That's fair. I think the Steelers defense shows out. I think they want a bounce back game, especially against a team like Cincinnati in their division.
Yeah,
Um,
good morale booster right there.
you already touched on Arizona over Jacksonville. I mean, Arizona's gonna wipe the
Probably
floor.
roam through them.
Uh,
Broncos with Jets, probably similar situation.
the Denver's been looking really good. They're 2-0. So I don't see them slipping up. I would pick Denver over the Jets. Miami goes into
99 times.
to LV. If Tua plays, it'll be a fight. If Tua doesn't play, LV will walk away with this game. I don't.
Think Raiders win even if 2 is there?
I would say, yeah, I see Vegas winning either way, personally, with how they've been
Yes.
playing. But this is the game that I would say is a difference between a 3-point and a 17-point.
Yeah,
If Tua's playing or
honestly.
not. The thing with that I want to see from Vegas this game that they haven't done the last two games is I want to see a run game.
Yeah, they need more than I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm gonna
134
bet.
total yards
Okay, I was gonna say 150. They need to have 100 total yards on the ground.
minimum this game. Like they need to get out to an early lead and then say we trust our guys in the backfield. We're gonna give them the ball and really show the NFL that yeah, Derek Carr can go out and throw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, but also if we get a lead, we're gonna close the game out.
Yeah,
And this is the game that Vegas needs to show it.
it's hard to do anything controlling the clock without a run game.
Or they can let Derek Carr go out and throw for 7 touchdowns and 500 yards if they want. You know what I mean? That's
I mean,
something.
if they want to go up 45-10 at halftime and then just ride that out, that's a game plan too.
I mean, honestly, Jacoby Brissett, I do not think would put up 35 points. So that seems like a great game plan. Actually, they should go do that. um, another giant game. Tampa Bay.
The last 3 here. could be
Yeah.
huge.
Tampa Bay goes into LA
4.
and faces the Rams.
Game of the week.
I would say yes, this is the game of the week.
I
This
think
is
it's the only undefeated matchup. It is the only undefeated
yes.
matchup.
I would say this is the first test for Matthew Stafford in LA.
Yes.
They faced the Bears week 1 and then the Colts last week. While the game against the Colts was close, I don't think that was a real test. I don't know why they looked so sloppy.
Weirdly enough, I think it's going to be a test, and I still think Matthew Stafford's going to be the same as he's been: 25 for 35, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, something like that. I don't think Matthew Stafford's going to miss a beat. I don't think Tom Brady's going to miss a beat. He's been a Tom Brady all season.
Honestly, with how Tom Brady's been playing, I don't know who can stop him. A guy like Tom Brady, when, like, yeah, he's won so many Super Bowls, but he's never, to me, like, he's never that guy who goes out and throws for like 400 yards and like super consistent all the time and throws all these touchdowns and throws all these yards. But
he's efficient with what he does.
Lately, he's just been way too efficient. Like, he's 44.
He should not be.
This is episode
he should not be
44.
averaging.
Sorry, I had to point it out. But
interesting. He should not be
no
325 plus yards a week, 4 touchdowns a week.
I just don't know how people like just. I want to watch film so I can try and be like, this is how you stop Brady, and then be like, didn't work. Okay.
I mean, that has got to be a day or more worth of practice. Is just okay. Game plan against Tom Brady.
All right, guys.
You only have 5 days.
He likes to throw it kind of here, and then the game comes and he throws it over there, and you're like,
I don't know how you stop him.
I don't.
Aaron Donald's got to be MVP caliber. Aaron Donald.
This is definitely a Tampa Bay offense versus Rams defense matchup.
Yes.
Whoever wins that matchup wins this game.
Yes.
And unfortunately,
I don't like the Rams' chances.
I think it's way too close.
Yes.
But I think Tampa Bay pulls it out. I think they go to 3-0.
Yeah.
It sucks, man.
I don't.
Yeah.
I wish this was the Sunday night game.
Same.
The Sunday night game is still one we'll talk about it here in a second. Sunday night game is still going to be phenomenal. But I wish this was the Sunday night game.
I agree. Or the Monday night. Or the Thursday
or
night.
the Monday night.
You know?
Any prime time.
Just, primetime game.
For that matter.
Like, you know what? Move it to Saturday.
College football be damned. No, I'm going to get flack for that
one. Next game, Seattle goes to Minnesota. We talked about Seattle bouncing back. I think they have a good week. But Minnesota's been playing well, but not well enough.
They are right there at the mountaintop and just need that little kick to get over the edge.
I mean, technically, they're 2 kicks away from being 2-0.
Exactly. And it's not like they needed all 3 points from both of those kicks. They've done everything in their power, and their kicker has let them down twice. I hate to say it that way.
It's the same thing that I talked about the Cowboys in week 1. Is, they lost because they're, in a sense, their kicker didn't make a field goal in each game. But if you play better in other parts of the game, you're not in a position where your kicker has to win you the game. So I don't like when teams blame, or like when fans blame their kickers. Like, you're the only reason we lost. I get it if your kicker missed like 6 field goals. Like, okay, that's different. That's a lot of points left on the board. But like, if he misses the game winner, it sucks. You can partially blame him for missing it. But why is your team in a position?
It's the Vikings defense is the thing, because how do you say it's somebody else's fault? Kirk Cousins. Okay, he didn't throw any interceptions. Okay, running. Okay, Dalvin Cook had 131 yards, didn't fumble the ball.
I mean, looking at their offense, Kirk Cousins, I have to give credit where it's due. He's a 71% completion rate, 600 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Dalvin Cook, 192 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. Yeah, we wish he had more rushing touchdowns, but like, the offense is clicking.
Yeah.
They're just not. They either need to click more and score more, or their defense needs to not give up as many points.
Yeah, and same
On top
story
of
to
their
go back
kicker
to week
making a field
1.
goal.
Well, yeah. I was gonna say same thing going back to week 1. They lost by 3 in overtime. Let's see, Kirk Cousins, 351, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Dalvin Cook, 61 yards, touchdown, 1 fumble lost. That's the only blemish
That's the only turnover.
on the season. Yeah. So I have a hard time, and same thing. I hate saying, "Oh, if the kicker would have just made the ball or made the kick." Unfortunately, that's where we're at right now.
It's on their defense and their kicker. That's
Yes.
the issue with the Vikings right now. And it's Seattle's not a good team to face when you say, "Oh, our defense isn't playing that well."
Yeah.
So I think we finally see Kirk Cousins throw a pick this week. I think
I
he throws
agree.
his first pick. I don't think he throws like 3. I would like it so I can say like, "Ha, I was right," but I don't think he does it.
I see him doing another
I see 3 touchdowns,
275
1.
and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And 1 pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I see. And I still unfortunately see them losing.
By a kick.
I see them losing like 35-28, 35-31. I feel like
Yeah.
this is the time where it's going to be a Kirk Cousins late drive that maybe that's where the pick comes from, right? Is a
He
late
has to
drive.
force it.
It's like a 4th and 7, game's on the line, and he misses his first read, throws to the second guy, and it's a pick or something, something like
Yeah.
that. So I see Seattle taking it personally. So yeah. For the Sunday night game, like you pointed out, Green Bay goes into San Francisco. San Francisco has no running backs, pretty much. Green Bay has been inconsistent through 2 weeks, which sounds weird because it's only 2 weeks, but
I mean, they had 3 points and then 35. So, and then they gave up 38 and then 17. So it's about as flip flop as you can get. San Francisco is favored at 3.5. I think it's a little much.
I can see why, in a sense, because they're 2-0. The Packers are 1-1. They look kind of iffy.
Right, but
I
they have no running backs now.
I think this is a Packers game. Honestly, I think the Packers win by like 10.
I was gonna say I don't think I say 3.5 for 49ers is too much. If the 49ers win, it's not gonna be. It'll be 3 or less.
I don't even think. Yeah, I personally I would not bet on the 49ers minus 3.5 here.
No, Packers cover for sure. And God, I don't want to say this with my girlfriend sitting next to me, but I think the Packers.
Yeah, I think the Packers plus 3.5 is like a real easy. I think it's.
See, I thought that about the Saints last week at -3.
Okay, fair.
So
okay, it's not an easy bet. Chat and people watching on Twitch, anyone listening on the platforms, if you bet, we're not held liable for any losses of money. I just want to make sure that it is clear. We are not held liable for any loss of funds. Okay, cool. Glad we had this discussion.
It's on you.
So I think the Packers win it. That's my
I
pick.
think the Packers win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm picking the Packers. Picking the Packers.
Yeah.
Picking the Packers. I'm picking the Packers. And then the final game on my birthday,
Monday night.
the Eagles
Your
go into
boys.
Dallas. Trying to get my sister to buy me tickets, but I haven't talked her into it yet. I've asked her 3 times, and she's laughed every single time.
Oh, you got 6 days to make it happen.
I know. But
I'll talk to her.
Eagles. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Eagles at Dallas.
I think this is. I think Cowboys take it pretty easily.
I'm trying not to say anything.
I figured as much. You're on the opposite side, opposite situation of me. It's hard not to be biased when your team is 2-0 and rolling, or 1-1,
1-1.
this close to 2-0.
Yeah.
Your one loss was 2 points to Super Bowl winning Tampa Bay. Like,
And a good
technically
Super
it's a
Bowl
loss.
winning Tampa Bay.
Technically, it's a loss, but that was not a loss.
It's like a moral victory for us.
Yeah, exactly. The good kind of moral victory.
Yeah.
I mean, if Cowboys play the same way they played in week 1, same way they played in week 2. The Cowboys are
They
gonna win
definitely
this
have
by
to
2
look better than they
possessions.
did week 2. Um,
Yes.
the thing with week 2
Yes.
is we are definitely showing holes on the defense because the problem is Micah Parsons is our best linebacker, but he's
And
playing.
you've got
He
him on the
has to
line.
play defensive end because we have injuries.
Yes.
So it sucks. It's also real crazy that he's a linebacker, but he plays defensive end so well.
He runs like a 4.4, doesn't he?
Yeah, maybe a
Yeah.
4.5, but he runs 4.5 max. He is ridiculously fast, really good at open field tackles, reads the play brilliantly, on pace to be
He's
defensive rookie of the year.
on pace to be defensive rookie of the year, on pace to be best draft pick of the draft.
Thank you, I do appreciate it. We did a great job. I was pretty mad that we didn't take a cornerback, but I am saying
It's
why.
working out
I
really
am
well.
saying why. I am not a part
Yeah.
of the organization. Because I'd have been like, we're taking a cornerback. And then I'd been like, out. And I'd been like,
No.
got it.
Good talk.
It'd have been like when Jerry Jones picked up the phone to call Johnny Manziel. They would have pulled it right out of my hands. I'd have been like, oh, we're not picking him? No?
Oh, I thought we were on that.
Okay, my bad.
No?
My bad, guys. I'm biased, but I think Dallas wins. I think it's going to sound weird, but I think Philadelphia sort of got exposed last week against the 49ers.
If the Cowboys play like they did against Tampa Bay, Cowboys by 17. If they play like they did against the Chargers, Cowboys by 7.
That's fair. Do you have a
I
line
don't.
up for that game?
3.5, 4. Dallas 4.
That's fair, honestly. I don't think I'll bet on that game.
Don't bet on your own team. Don't bet with your heart. I might bet against the Falcons. I actually think I did last week. I picked in the Survivor. I picked the Buccaneers last week.
Good choice.
Yeah.
But that does it for week 3. I want to wrap up this episode. I know it's been a long episode.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask you 2 questions. I want you to pull up the standings for the entire league.
Gotcha.
Then I want you to separate it for the entire league so you can see the entire league from 2-0 down to 0-2.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you 2 questions. I'll ask you the first one. You'll understand where the second one's going to go, but I'll ask you the first one. Looking at the 2-0 teams, which team do you think does not make the playoffs?
Of the 2-0 teams?
Correct. If you had to put money on one of those 7 teams to not make the playoffs, which one is it?
Broncos. Tough division. Broncos aren't as good as the rest of them. Panthers could be in the same boat. If I had to say for sure one of them, I'm picking the Broncos just because they also have to outplay the Raiders. They have to outplay the Chiefs.
I mean, technically they don't have to because the whole division can make the playoffs.
Yes, but there's a lot of good teams in the AFC.
I do agree. The team that I was going to go with was the Panthers.
Yeah,
I don't think they can trend the way they are the entire season. And I think that the NFC West is too strong. I know that's a different division, but they just are going to have so many teams that have a good record.
I picked them the whole division to go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So there goes all the wild cards.
Yeah, so I don't think the Panthers, because they're definitely not winning the division.
No.
That they're not beating the Bucks. Let's be real.
No.
So I picked the Panthers.
If I had to pick between the Panthers and the Bucks, I'm taking the Panthers. It's not going to happen.
But on the other side, 0-2 teams, which team do you think has the best chance of making the playoffs? Because looking at those teams, I don't like pretty much any of them.
Vikings. Yeah. They've been a field goal away from being 2-0.
Are you considering the Colts with Carson or without?
With. Because sprained ankle, he'll be back in 2 weeks max.
I don't want to say it, Eddie. I don't want to say it.
What's up?
I don't want to say it.
Say it.
I just don't.
Yeah, I mean, you slander him all day, every day.
But I give credit where it's due. The Vikings had the best chance.
Do
they have a good chance? No.
Okay. there's two parts of that question. Which of these teams has the best chance, and will any of these teams actually do
I
it?
don't think any of these teams will make the playoffs.
Correct. Lions, no.
Nope.
Jaguars, no. Falcons, not looking like it. Jets, no. Giants, doubtful. Colts are a close second to the Vikings. I don't think any of them do it.
Yeah, it's either the Vikings or the Colts. I don't see any of the teams.
Yeah.
The Giants could if the rest of the NFC East does what they did last season.
If they're, yeah,
Right,
23 wins across the division, yeah.
Like they have a good shot if that happens, but in its current state,
That's not how that's going to
I
play
would
out
say
this year.
the Vikings.
Sound it out. You got it. Just breathe. It's okay.
Got it. Oh,
And then the rest of them are everybody else is 1-1. I know we're only 2 weeks in, so there's only 3 possible records. Um, almost all of the 1-1 teams I could see in the playoffs right now. Just to go ahead and round out your questionnaire.
yeah.
Almost all of them.
Honestly, the only team. Hold on.
Patriots are on the
Patriots
lower
and
end
the
of that.
Bengals, and the Bears if they play Dalton
Same,
and
yeah.
the Eagles.
Same thing we said prior.
Everyone else I see could make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're 2 weeks in.
Why did you make me pull this up? Now I get to look at the Falcons have the worst point differential through 2 weeks.
Nice. You guys are looking good, but don't worry, because the Dolphins got shut out. They're at -34, but they're 1-1.
Still worse than the league.
All right, Eddie. That will do it for week 2 review and week 3 preview. But Eddie, it is
Wow,
time
we're-
for your fun fact. It's a long episode, yeah. Didn't mean to
Alright,
touch on all the games, but we ended up doing it anyways.
Yeah, that was not the case, but all right, 3. Your number is 3.
3.
3.
The most interception returns by a team in one game.
I would like to see that game. If you can find it, let me know.
Is it something like that? Like the most kickoff returns by a team in a game? Because it was Devin Hester.
It is not.
In the
It
Super
is
Bowl against
not-
the Colts.
No, it is not anything to do with a single game.
It's not most consecutive times going back to back to back Super Bowls, right? Does it have to do with Super Bowls?
No. It is 3. Something happened in 3 games in NFL history. Only happened 3 times.
No touchdowns were scored.
That's happened way more than 3 times.
I know.
No.
Can't get another.
There's been, without giving it away,
I would prefer, but if you have to give it away in the hint, that's fine.
most recently in 2020,
Most times there were no fans at games.
I think that's like
sad.
250 something.
Yeah, I'm sad.
No.
3.
Most recently was in 2020. It's only happened 3 times since the merger.
Is it where the number 1 seeds made the Super Bowl?
No. I don't know how many times that's happened.
All right, what's the fact? I can't think of it.
There have been 3 quote unquote perfect football games ever played. 0 turnovers, 0 penalties, 0 sacks.
Is that by one team or both?
That just 3 games that it's happened.
So, when you say 3 games, do you mean both teams had no turnovers, no sacks, no penalties?
The whole game had no turnovers, no sacks, no penalties. Vikings versus the LA Rams in 72. Minnesota won. Indianapolis at Cleveland, 1999. Indianapolis won 29-28. Most recently, Tampa Bay versus Green Bay in 2020. Tampa Bay won 38-10.
Was that wasn't the playoff game, was it?
No. So it was mid-October when this one happened.
No turnovers, no sacks, no penalties. The penalties one is the crazy part.
That's originally what I was looking at, just because we were talking about the taunting penalties earlier. So I was looking at games where there's been no penalties, and I found this.
No penalties
Yeah.
is like
No penalties is insane. 0 turnovers happen, 0 sacks happen, but there's always a holding call. or a pass interference call. So
Or a
whenever I
delayed
first saw
game
this,
because people do it all the time now to get 5 yards for the punter. Like,
yeah, like I initially was thinking, there's no way that's happened recently with as often as we see flags now, but it happened last year. Put the link in the document if you would like to see it in a little bit more, just the article on it. But yeah, it's happened 3 times.
what the heck? This is so weird, man.
I would like to like I would. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and look. Actually, I'm gonna go back and pull up that box score from last year. Obviously, Tampa Bay won, but that is I don't know. That's weird to me. And I feel like that's one of the things you would watch the game and you wouldn't realize it until something like this came out.
I just, I'm trying to
Would that be a
imagine.
fun game to watch?
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine. Like, is this exciting?
Here's the box score. I'm gonna put that
Because
into
they're
two.
not considering
Like
like
this was no holding penalties, no interceptions.
they're not considering punts as like turnovers, right? No, okay.
No turnover. Wait, huh?
This doesn't make sense because
Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers threw
Rodgers threw
two
two
picks.
picks. It's from one team then.
I guess it is just one team.
Yeah, Tom Brady wasn't sacked, no picks. They had no fumbles.
Okay, then.
And team stats.
That's what I get for not doing my enough research prior to.
Penalties, yeah, 0. Yeah, look at that. It is by one team.
Okay, so
Okay.
it's one team.
This to me,
Not as impressive, but still very impressive.
man.
Yep, it is one team. 1999, it was Indianapolis. Had 0 turnovers, zero penalties, 0 sacks.
And they won.
And they won. So I'm going to assume the Vikings also
Did
won.
Minnesota win 45-41 in 1972?
That's what I'm looking at. They did win 45-41 in 1972.
You're telling
And
me.
they had 0 turnovers, 0 sacks,
And
0 penalties.
so you're telling me if my
That's
team
that's the formula.
has no turnovers, no penalties, no sacks, I win?
3 for 3 so far, yeah.
That's crazy. I would never have thought that.
What's going to be even crazier is it's going to happen again at some point, and that team's going to lose.
Yeah, and then they're going to ruin the stat.
What would be the team to do that? Play the most perfect game of football and lose.
The Cowboys. Or your Falcons.
Yeah.
And it was a lead that you guys had that you threw.
Yeah.
The Cowboys would look really good, but would end up kicking like 4 field goals and like 1 touchdown, and we would lose like
Yeah.
42-19.
I'm curious. Do decline penalties count?
I would say
I would say if it was declined, obviously it's not going to count as a penalty against you, but does this mean they did not have a single flag thrown them all game?
it does mean no flags. Because this
That's what I'm
article
thinking.
says playing
Okay,
a
there
clean
you go.
game with no flags was a major step in the right direction.
Wow. Second time in franchise history that a team has made it through a whole game without a single penalty. Wow. Hey, they won the Super Bowl for a reason last year.
That's crazy,
I'm
man.
willing. I'm willing. Who won the Super Bowl this year? Jim Moore was the coach of the Colts whenever that happened,
Jim Mora. What a legend.
and then he went to UCLA and then to the Falcons, I think, or Falcons and then UCLA, something like that. They win? The Colts were 13-2 at the time in 1999. Who won the Super Bowl in 2000? Kurt Warner is my guess. Kurt Warner's correct.
No way.
Only reason I remember that is because that is the first Super Bowl ever I remember watching.
Was he with the Rams at that point?
Yep. Rams versus Titans in
2000.
Atlanta.
Is this the roster that I'm thinking of? Where's the
Probably.
box score? Yep, Torrey Holt, Eddie George played Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce for St. Louis because they were the
Yeah.
St. Louis Rams at that point.
Yep.
Man, that's crazy. And Marshall Falk.
Yeah. That.
Yeah, that was a good team. Steve McNair, Eddie George, Frank Wycheck. Man, football. Football.
Oh. Super Bowl for the 2000 Super Bowl 30 Roman numeral. What is that?
Super Bowl 30?
36. No, it's XXXIV, so that's
34.
34. Rams were favored by 7. They won by 7.
Nice. Look at Vegas. They've been good. Look at them. Please give me my money back.
Yeah. Please.
Ooh, that was a good fact, though. Good choice.
Thank you.
But that will do it for episode 44, friends. We appreciate you guys
It's a long
hanging
one.
out, listening. Yeah, it's a long episode. That's how, honestly, probably a lot of these episodes will end up, just because there's so much football to talk about, and we want to make sure we talk about everything and anything.
We shoot for an hour.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah,
This one went over almost double.
yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
But reminder, we do stream our episodes on Twitch. Go to twitch.tv/meme streams32teams. We try our best to be there every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. Today was a little late, but
Life.
you can find us on Twitter at memes32teams. You can find us on SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search memes streams 32 teams. I appreciate you guys watching, hanging out in the Twitch chat, and listening to us on any other platforms. And we will see you guys after week 3 next Tuesday, the day after my birthday. Heads up, just letting you guys know.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you guys next Tuesday. And peace.
Bye bye.